What's going on, everybody? It's your boy MOODZ, and yes, it is that time of year once again. Actually, it's a little bit later in the year, and that's probably the first thing I'm going to explain as to why this top 21 of 2021 list is so much later. When I did my 2021 album roundup for the year, I recorded this video a couple days later and then went to go edit it a couple days after that and found out that it recorded without audio. So I was super pissed off because I knew my schedule moving forward was going to be super hectic and I wasn't going to really have a lot of time to redo it. So this is going to be more of a condensed version of it. So that's why this is like a couple weeks later than it should have been, because it would have been out about a week after. But anyways, excuses, I digress. It doesn't really matter when it comes out. I think it's just the fact that it's actually going to come out anyways. So that is why this video is so much later than it should have been. But yeah, let's get into 2021. 2021 was a very odd year, I would say, for everybody, for everything that was going on in the world. And, of course that put a little bit of a damper on a lot of people's lives and stuff. But man, I got to say 2021 was probably the most devastating year for hip hop ever. I mean, the amount of notable deaths in 2021 was just unbelievable. It really, really was unbelievable. I mean, obviously most of them unexpected, maybe one or two, maybe expected kind of thing. But man, what a devastating year. We lost some true icons, real greats of hip hop. And it's very, very sad. I actually did get to the point where I actually started making a list of, the notable deaths throughout the year as they were passing away. Like, that's just so bad that even came to that. But I do want to just start off the show by giving some rest in pieces to some of the fallen soldiers. Of course, Gift of Gab from Black Alicious, which was very sudden. He was not very old. Very, very sad. DMX, it's still sad that DMX passed away. He's struggled with substance problems his entire career and life in general and stuff, but it's very, very sad that he passed away at a young age of 50. Prince Marky D, man, from the Fat Boys. That one hurt. I was a big Fat Boys fan growing up. Ecstasy from Houdini, one of my all-time favorite groups. I love Houdini. So losing Ecstasy to me is like an icon. Black Rob, of course, from the Bad Boy family, who's been sick for a few years, which that was one of the deaths I kind of saw maybe coming sooner than later because he had been so sick. This one devastated me to death, was Double K from People Under the Stairs. That one was just totally unexpected. It put a shock in my life. I was just like, that's crazy, because he's just a couple years older than me, and apparently he passed away in his sleep, and it's never been really fully disclosed, but apparently he did pass away in his sleep. And People on the Stairs, probably one of the only hip-hop groups ever to drop 10 group albums and have 10 solid albums. I mean, there's not too many groups out there that put out 10 solid albums. I mean, pretty underrated in that aspect. But rest in peace to Double K, man. Mikey, man, that's just sad. Shock G from Digital Underground, another guy, apparently passed away in his sleep, I think, in a hotel room. I mean, Shock G, another legend, man. Are you kidding me? Ugh, brutal. Biz Markie, another cat that has had health problems for a little bit, and I wasn't overly surprised that he passed away, but very, very devastating. Probably one of the funnest personalities that hip hop ever had. I mean, rapper, entertainer, beatboxer, singer, just DJ. This guy did it all. Biz Markie was the full hip hop package. Gonzo from Caution, group that Ice Cube introduced back in the day. I believe he was shot, if I'm not mistaken, which is very sad. Chucky Thompson from the Hitman, the production crew, passed away this year. Murdoch and 12 O'Clock from Brooklyn Zoo, Old Dirty Bastards group. They were both murdered, I believe, in Seattle. I think they were shot up there or something, or maybe it was Gonzo. I don't know, but they got killed together. Brutal. And then Zumbi from Zion I passed away. Now, this is an interesting death because It was ruled that he had passed away from COVID, but then his mom is stating now that he was actually murdered. So I don't really know what's going on with that. That's kind of interesting and sad at the same time. Hub, one of the old original bass players from the Roots, passed away. A very iconic look. If you saw what he looked like right now and you weren't 100% sure, you know who he was. Kangol Kid from UTFO, man. Absolute legend in the game. Super, super sad. Yeah, Kangol Kid, man. Are you kidding me, man? Oh, so brutal. I believe he had been sick for a little while, too. I believe he had cancer, too. So that was another one that wasn't overly shocking, but, you know, it happens. And, of course, Red Rum, 781 from the Bloods and the Crips, and also the Young Soldiers, who were actually featured on Murder Was the Case soundtrack. So he was kind of affiliated with Death Row at one time and stuff, but I believe that he was shot and killed just a little while ago, actually, I believe. Those are the ones that I remembered and noted down. The ones, I'm sure there's more, but rest in peace to everybody if I missed you. It wasn't because, you know, out of disrespect or anything. There's just so many deaths this year, but those were the most notable ones for myself. But okay, so moving along from a little bit of damper there. 2021 top 21 of 2021. I said 2021 too many times there. How did I make my list? So this year I really wanted to simplify things quite a bit. So what I did to make my list a lot easier to make was basically I had two stipulations. You had to have an album that was over 30 minutes and it had to have a physical copy. So by doing that, it eliminated a lot of projects, a lot of shorter albums that are under 30 minutes, which I consider EPs anyways, and it eliminated a lot of just digital only releases. Now that sucks because there is a lot of digitally only releases this year that were really dope, but there's also many of those that are going to be getting physical releases in 2022. Hence, your old Droog, you know, he dropped Time and Spacebar late in the year, and those are both getting physical releases. Actually, Time has a physical release right now. I'm waiting for it. So those will be eligible for myself for this year. It's just how I did it. You don't have to do this. I'm not saying anyone has to do this or whatever. It's just the way I wanted to break down and make my list a lot easier to make. It's so much easier to do that. And I feel like this is the best way of getting the albums and the ones that I loved, and just and a way of actually showing off the physical copies too. And also a way of not having to edit the shit out of my videos also. So, but anyways, that's how I made my list. And I do digress, because yeah, this is supposed to be the shorter version of this video. I ran like almost 50 minutes, I think, last time I did this, but anyways, I'm going to get right into this. I'm not going to talk about the albums too much. But let's get into this top 21 of 2021. First up here is Damu, the Fudge Monk conversation piece. This was a really, I mean, honestly, Damu, everything that Damu puts out is really solid. I mean, the guy never misses. I love his work with Insight. The Y Society record that he did with Insight. I love all his instrumental albums. I like his kind of producer albums that he does. And this was kind of an interesting one too, because Damu's rapping all over this. He does have Insight on here. I talked about all these albums in my previous things, so if I didn't say something here, I probably said it over there. I don't know. But very, very solid release from Damu. Like I said, if you're familiar with his beats and stuff, you know exactly what you're going to get yourself into. It's very soulful. I just love his drums. I love his arrangement of his music and stuff. And he came correct with the rhyming on here, man. It was pretty damn solid. But just really good stuff. There's 9 tracks on here, but it does run well over 30. It's like 40 minutes, man. There's some long ass tracks. It's kind of done differently. It's kind of done in almost like two different EPs. It's weird. So it's got this first half of the record, and then it's got this the 4 Better or Worse Soup, which is the last 4 tracks in the album are part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4, featuring different MCs on each track. So pretty cool record. Very enjoyable to listen to. I should probably snag the vinyl of this one because I really enjoyed it. Apparently the CD was limited. I said this last time too, but yeah. So Damu, number 21. And you know, a lot of these albums could be in different spots and stuff. So and this is just my personal list. This is just my favorites of the year. I'm not saying these are the best albums of the year. These are just my personal favorites. And like I said, the arrangement could go a lot of different ways. All right, in at number 20 is Kelsey and DJ Archives, The Bowling League. This album has a really dope vibe, man. Really cool boom bap. I love the fact that there's so much scratching on this record. Like DJ Archives, it kind of feels old school in that aspect that the DJ is so involved in this. So, you know, right from the intro, like scratch intro, and a lot of the choruses have well, pretty much all of them have scratch hooks and stuff like that. The production's really good on here. I really enjoyed it. Steve Immobilarity 1 from YouTube actually has a track on here, which I said before also. I'm not going to keep doing that. But Mom Placebo, he did a track called Don't Pull It, and it's a fantastic track. Actually, the cut course on here is so dope, man. It's really good, which is obviously done by DJ Archives. But this one's a little bit lower because I prefer the beats and the scratching and the arrangement of the record a lot more than the actual rhyming from Kelsey. I think Kelsey's a solid rhymer. I don't think he's phenomenal. He might even turn, I don't know, to say they're going to turn some people off, but he does rhyme a little bit differently. But still a solid record overall. Really good. So 13 tracks, and this one runs, I don't know, 35, 36 minutes, something like that. Maybe 40 minutes. It's a little bit longer. Considering, what the average album is these days. So yeah, that was number 20. In at number 19 is 13, A Magnificent Day for an Exorcism. This one is a little bit lower on the list, even though I love this record. And I listened to this shit a ton this year because I'm a big Pharoah Monch fan, and I just love the way Pharoah Monch rhymes. I mean, ever since Fudge Pudge, man, all the way through his career, this guy is he's just a true intellect, man. Like the way he conceives words and the way he spits metaphors and things is just mind-blowing. And that's what I like about Pharoah Monch, is that he's so serious about what he does, but at the same time, his music still comes off as sometimes fun. This is a little bit different. It's a little bit darker. And for the people that are a little bit unfamiliar with this is more of it's like a hip hop infused with kind of sludge and rock music a little bit. A lot of people were kind of taken back when this album came out at the beginning of the year. I was one of the people that wasn't, because I knew that it was coming out. It's going to be sounding something like this, because he'd done an interview years ago and he talked about what he was working on. And I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. It's not exactly what I expected. I expected it to be a little bit more rock orientated. It's a lot of hip hop. But like the song Racist on here, where he raps from the point of view of a racist, it's just insane. There's so many really cool tracks on here, but there is a couple misses on here too. But I still think overall it's a very, very solid album. If you're a really big Pharoah Monch album or fan, I would highly recommend this if you never checked it out. But it does lose a little bit of steam towards the end of the record, but it happens. So so 13. And this is an annoying record to search, because every time you type in 13, Megadeth comes up. Every single time. It's so annoying. All right, so we're on my number 18. I have my list on the side here because I always forget what number I'm on, and I'm probably not going to put the numbers up on here because I don't really feel like editing this. Number 18 is where am I? Number 18 is number 18 is Recognize Ali and Bronze Nazareth, Season of the Seven. I was grabbing a disc there. Vinyl only release, I think it's only vinyl. Fantastic record, man. I'm a huge Bronze Nazareth fan. I love Recognize Ali. He's one of my favorite MCs doing it right now. The guy's putting out so much solid stuff, and Bronze has always been a great producer. This album kind of feels like Wu-Tang mixed with Army of the Pharaohs, with a touch of Rock Marciano's kind of production. That's where Bronze is coming from on this, and I think Recognize Ali just attacks everything on here so perfectly. It's really great. There's actually a bonus track on the vinyl, which I believe is not on the digital version right now. It's a song called Love's Got a Thin Line, and it's produced by Apollo Brown, who is another one of my favorite modern producers, if y'all didn't know that. But man, the song on here, How We Roll, with the cuts by Tone Spliff, oh shit, dude. The cuts on that are just fantastic. It's ridiculous. So dope, man. Lots of really good tracks on here. Actually, the song Olympic Gold Medalist, which is, kind of suits the moment right now since the Olympics are actually going on. That song's pretty interesting. It's I think it's kind of got it's a little bit more of that Rock Marciano, no drums kind of thing. It's very mellow. But it starts out with God Aura, man, and it's just a fantastic record, man. I can't say enough good things. Great combination. Bronze was busy, man. He put out 3 albums this year. It's pretty crazy. Him producing on some, him rapping on some. Pretty cool. He actually he did a record with Rock Marciano, Speak of the Devil, and he rapped on that, and Rock produced it, which is crazy. Those guys are just doing whatever. So very cool stuff. Highly recommend this. Awesome album. So that's number 18. Number 17 is a record released by Chopped Hearing Records, and it's Trevor J and Loopholes. Trevor J, of course, is Vex. I think Trevor J is actually his real name, Trevor J Vex. I believe that's his actual real name. you know, a bunch of different groups I've mentioned before. And of course, Loopholes is the producer from, where did I say, Norway or something like that? I think I said in the last video. I'm slipping my mind right now. But really cool, jazzy record, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, Last Jazz Club, of course, Vex is from that. And it sounds kind of on that level a little bit. Very, very mellow, very jazzy. Oh, jazzy kind of boom bap. Can't say enough good things about it. The whole record is just fantastic. 11 tracks. It's pretty short. It runs just over 30 minutes, but it does a good job of what it's doing, man. Jazz hip-hop at its finest right here. And if you're a fan of Vex, you can't go wrong. It's good stuff. So that is number 17. Number 16 is an album that, you know, I usually have this. Every time this guy drops a record, it's usually like in my top 10 or top 12 or something like that. This one, it's a solid record, and I was happy that he came back and did a record with this producer because it had been a long time. It had been actually a really long time since they've done an abundance of work together. I think it's a solid record. It's not my favorite work by him, but I really enjoyed it, and I can never say the name of this album, and that's Garbology. Aesop Rock and Blockhead, which I also have on vinyl. Yeah, it's down here. I'm not going to show it. I'll just hold up the garbage bag CD edition. But, you know, it's good. It's good. I think a lot of people are just kind of taken back by this one. You never really know what you're going to get with Blockhead, but I think that they delivered a pretty solid album here. It was just, I always have a hard time making this list on where to really put the albums because, like, they can, like I said, they can kind of go in different spots on the list, and it is what it is. I mean, I love all these albums. I can listen to them any day of the week. So, but Aesop Rock and Blockhead, I think it's a pretty solid album. They took some pretty interesting approaches here. I think the first single actually is one of those kind of weird tracks where it builds up until Aesop starts right, and then the beat kicks in. It's like, you know, just weird arrangement like that. But yeah, solid stuff. And that was number 16. All right, so getting into number 15 here is a Canadian group by the name of Swamp Thing. World War Swamp is the new record from Swamp Thing. Yeah, man, this is a solid album, man. Honestly, Swamp Thing puts out nothing but dope records, man. Yeah, dude, like there's so much good scratching on here. There's so many good concepts and stuff. They just kill it, man. These guys are always killing their fucking records. We got a lot of Canadian features on here. Word Burglar, More or Less, Ghetto Socks, Bazooka Joe's on here, aka John Smith, Ghetto Socks. I think I already said Ghetto Socks and stuff. But really solid record, man. I was taken back by the amount of scratching on this, and the beats were so just dope. Like, it's really dope, man. Some East Coast Canadian hip hop right here. If you never heard of Swamp Thing, I would maybe go to their Bandcamp and just check them out. Some of their stuff isn't available physically, but it's Timbuktu, Chocolese, and Salvian, who is the producer, and yeah, it's really solid shit, man. Really good stuff. The first song, man, so dope on the record. All right, so getting into number 14, and another cat that always seems to break into my favorite albums lists of the year. And I always talk about this cat, how, you know, I like him. Actually, I love him, but he sometimes bores me. Probably gives it away right there. And that's Sky Zoo. All the Brilliant Things. This was an interesting album because I didn't really know what to expect from this, because I was looking at the producer lineup when it was coming out and I was going, wow, I don't really recognize a lot of the producers on this. And Sky Zoo has been working with a lot of very notable producers in recent years. And so I was kind of taken back that there was a lot of producers on here that I wasn't really overly familiar with. And even some of the features, I was like, wow, I don't really know some of these. There was a few on here and stuff, but there's not really a lot of like big features on here. I was like, oh shit, okay, this is going to be interesting. Man, the album's super solid. It all comes together. It sounds very cohesive. And I really like the fact that there isn't a lot of features on here, because I really got to sit down and kind of take in Sky Zoo's album for you know, for just him, you know. The cool thing about the record is that it does come with the lyrics. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I really got into this record, because as I was sitting in the studio here listening to it, I was following along with the lyrics. And I was like, holy fuck, man, this is a really good album. He's got some really good lyrics on here, man. It's really in depth and shit. And the fact that he's got Al Scratch on here, boom, top 21 material right there, man. It's awesome. But I love the song Humble Brag, but there's a lot of good material on here. If you're a fan of Sky Zoo, I would highly recommend this. it's actually one of his better albums. It really is. Yeah, it's just solid from top to bottom. Really good album. It's just a good album. It doesn't have those big explosive singles and shit. It's just a solid record from top to bottom. All right, so that's number 14. Coming in at number 13 is... I just had a feeling this album was going to be on hit for me, man. When I found out that these two were linking up to do a record, I was like, shit, man, I got to be all over this because I love the MC. I love the producer. Everybody knows these are my favorite type albums. One producer, one MC records. And that's Guilty Simpson and... I was going to say Ed O.G. What the fuck? Because I was... Jeez. And Jensu Dean with Ego. And the white case is going to fuck up the camera. This album from top to bottom is just bangers, man. It just, right from the Don't Pull, Break 'Em Off, could have been, oh man. You got Black Milk on here, Sky Zoo's on here also. Solid record though, man. I really enjoyed this. I'm a big fan of Jensu Dean. I think he's kind of an underrated producer, man. Guilty, man, you know, he's gotten better throughout his career. He really has, man. The dude can spit, man. He can spit, but this is a solid album right here. The white case is annoying though. It's so white. All right, so yeah, number 13, Guilty Simpson, Jensen Dean with Ego. Coming in number 12 is a project, man. Like when this came out, I was like, whoa, really? Like we're just gonna go hardcore Boston native shit here. And one of the OGs, man, and that's Ed O.G. and Insight Innovatives. Insight going by Insight Innovatives now. I'm a big Insight fan, right? I love Insight, and it's so cool that he's not just producing this whole record, he's actually rapping on it too with that OG, so that was really cool. I love Insight, the stuff that he did with Damu, man. Like, Insight solo records were cool, and then when he linked up with Damu, did the Y Society record, and he did the Ears... Here's Spears. I always fuck that title up, man. I love that record, but I can never remember what it's called. I love that record too, which I know we'd reviewed on this channel a few years back or whatever, and it became one of my favorite albums of that time. But Insight's dope, man, and kind of underrated as a producer, but this shit comes together. This is a really dope record. The only problem with this album is the mastering. The mastering's a little bit low on this. You really do notice it, man. If you're bumping a lot of brand new albums, and actually this happened to me a couple weeks back. I was bumping a bunch of 2021 albums. I was putting shit in, and I threw on this one, and it was like, man, I got to turn that shit up to 11 to feel like I'm at a 6 right now. The mastering's not the greatest on this, but it does sound really good. It's pretty much featureless, man. It's got Brady Watt on here on a song called Good and Goodbye, but this whole record is solid, man. And I gotta admit, man, that I broke my own fucking rules by accident with this record, man. So I completed this list, and I was totally happy with this top 21 list, and I was going through it, and I was like, fuck me. And I'm looking at it going, shit, is that Ed O.G. and Inside album over 30 minutes? It's fucking not, man. It's like 28 minutes. So yeah, I fucked up. I totally fucked up. But I was like, screwed, I'm not redoing it. I'm not putting something else in there. It is what it is. It's a mess up. It was an honest mess up. I actually thought it was over 30 minutes. But anyways, yeah, it turns out it's a little bit shorter, but whatever. It is what it is. Rules are meant to be broken, right? Isn't that what they're for? So fuck it. Who cares? So that's number 12. And at number 11 is a record that I really, really love, man. This one, I didn't really know what to do with this. It was in my top 10. It wasn't. It was like, I don't know, man. When I first listened to this record, I was flying to Vancouver a few months back, and I really absorbed it. I was just on a flight, and I put it in. I listened to everything he was saying. I was like, it's a great concept album. It's fucking awesome. The beats are great on this, and that's Blue, the color blue. So a little bit of a concept record. I mentioned before, you know, the production with Surplus and Exile, handled most of it. J57. I think that's it. Surplus, J57, and Exile. So we all know Blue and Exile, familiar producers and stuff. But this is a really good concept record. Fantastic. Like, Blue knocks this shit out the park with the rhymes. It's very in depth. It's very soulful. It's just got such a great vibe. This is a great album to throw on with headphones. It's not like this is not something you're going to throw on in a party situation. It's not a party record. It's more of a lounge, and you put your headphones on, or however you listen to tunes. I listen to headphones every single night before I go to bed. My wife fucking hates me. I've been doing it since I was like 8 years old. But yeah, man, I love this record. It sounds really good in the headphones, and another banger from Blue, man. Good shit. So that was number 11. Into the top 10 is an album that, oh man, I love this one, man. And I think this is the better of the two that these cats put out this year. The first one, me and Jay reviewed on the Bake Sale, and I think that's dope. I think that album feels more like a God Fahim record featuring Droog, because he produced the whole thing. He rhymes first, and Droog kind of comes in. I don't know. It's a really cool sounding album. It's really short. It wouldn't have qualified anyways. It is like 25 minutes or something like that. But we got the God Fahim Droog record, the God Fahim, or the Yod Fahim. And I love this record, man, because it feels like more of a 1-2 punch album, production wise especially, man. I like the fact that it went outside the box, and it's not a lot of Fahim or Droog. In fact, I don't even think, Droog doesn't even produce a beat on here. God Fahim produces quite a few, but you have Preservation on here, man. You got Knots, you got Cool Chris, you got JS, Ghost McGrady. So there's other producers on here. Fantastic vibe to this album, man. It's really good, man. Fucking lyrics, man. Like, I always tell people, man, if you haven't heard of Droog, you got to check this guy out, because every time I listen to a Droog album or project or whatever it is, this guy spits the craziest shit, man. And I go back and listen to it, and I'm like, what? And like, he's one of the only cats where I'm like, I catch something every single time I listen to his records. It's just nuts. He's so in depth, and he's so smart with his rhymes and shit. It's just incredible, man. But these guys make a really good combination, man. The cohesiveness of them going back and forth is really good, man. The voices, the flows, and they pick really good beats to rhyme over and shit like that. The slam dunk contest with Pharoah Monch is it's fucking amazing, man. It really is awesome. Highly recommend this one. Got this one on vinyl too. I think it's down here. It's actually sitting right here. But yeah, got to do that. But yeah, so fantastic album, the Yod Fahim. And in at number 9 is, oh man, this is like straight banger shit right here. I'm a big fan of this cat. He's been doing it for a long, long time, but he came back into the game and just started pumping out shit like producer, one MC, one producer records, and oh my god, it's just fucking ridiculous. But People Without Shoes, This Green Thing of Ours, awesome. This is produced by Sean Pang, and it's like super gnarly sounding boom bap. It's just, man, it fills the speakers, man. This shit's fucking hard. It's hard, man. It sounds so good. Like, I was taken back, man, by the first track on here, Mr. Hip Hop. It's just, it hits so hard in the paint, man. It's just crazy. And the album just never really relinquishes itself, man. It just keeps going. So if you're into like really hard boom bap and you're a fan of People Without Shoes, it's what you're getting here. Not a lot of features. Pang's on a couple tracks, and that's about it. How I like it. One producer, one MC records. Awesome. This shit I've listened to so many times. It's only vinyl release as of right now. I don't know. I actually asked him if he was going to be dropping a CD too, because I love to have vinyl and CDs in my like favorite albums. I don't buy everything on vinyl because it's just ridiculously expensive. But he never got back to me. At least I don't remember if he did. I don't think he did. Or maybe he said there was no CD coming. I can't remember. But I think there's only vinyl right now. But I highly recommend this. This is a really dope record. So The Great Thing of Ours, love it. And that was in at number 9. In at number 8 is a group from Buffalo. And now when you think of Buffalo rap right now or hip hop, what do you think of? Probably Griselda. You're probably thinking Benny the Butcher, Conway, West Side Gun. They're the big notables right now. No. Man, dude, these guys dropped 2 ridiculous albums this year. Pseudo Intellectuals, only built for food and drinks. Obviously a play on Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links. These guys are super fun. The name suits them so well because they're rhyming in a lot of metaphors. It's very satirical. It's super fun. It's very jazzy. It's got just such a great feel to their records, man. Everything about it is just, it's so replayable because you just want to catch what they're saying and how it's relating to the world and everything. It's just awesome. It's such a cool album. Very, very jazzy. Kind of, it's slower, but it's just got such a great feel to it. Like, I mean, they're talking a little bit of politics and stuff but it's satirical at the same time, and I love that about this, man. They're taking their shit serious without taking it serious, if that makes any sense. Like I said, Pseudo Intellectuals, once you listen to them, that name, it's so perfect that they name themselves Pseudo Intellectuals. It's so perfect. It's amazing. But like, even judging by like the song titles on the back here, you can kind of get a feel for what they're going to be about. Yes, and I am rocking the Pseudo Intellectual shirt. Shout goes out to my man Larry, if you're watching this, for hooking me up with this. They'd actually sent him a couple shirts, and I came into the shop one day and he's like, yo, you want this? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want that. So yeah, Pseudo Intellectuals, only built for food and drinks. So good. It's just amazing. I didn't think it could get any better. That was the first album of the year that they dropped, and I was like, shit, it's really dope. All right, so actually to an album I did not show in the roundup because it had not arrived yet, and I explained why this album hadn't arrived, because it got sent back to the shipper, or to the seller, and then he reshipped it out after he had COVID, and yeah, one thing led to another. I got it like 3 months later. And that's Certified Craftsman, which is Propo 88, the Dutch producer, and Widelux, who is from the Bronx. I think Widelux is from the Bronx. I think so. But yeah, you know, if you've ever listened to Propo 88, you know exactly what you're getting. It's very 90s dusty boom bap hip hop, and Widelux is just a beast on the mic, man. So it's a great combination. Again, one producer, one MC album. It's fantastic, man. This shit it's bangers, man. It's bangers after bangers. I really hope that these guys do another record. It's simply titled Certified Craftsman, Propo 88, and Widelux. But I'm super happy to finally have this in my possession, because I didn't think it was going to show up for a while, man. I was pretty keen on it not showing up. So, but yeah, pretty cool, man, that it's actually numbered on the front there. The thing's actually limited to 250 copies. I got number 80 apparently, so that's 2 limited ones in here. I don't really give a shit. I just want the albums. I'm not like a reseller or anything. I don't care about numbers. Doesn't matter to me. I wish these things were more available for other people, but the problem is people just don't fucking buy the physicals anymore. That's why everything's limited now. All right. So that was number 7. Into number 6 is a cat that every time he puts out a record, it's always in my list, man, because the guy always blows me away with features, beats, everything. It's sick. It's awesome. And that's Beneficence and Confidence with Stellar Mind. Oh, man. I love Confidence as a producer. Man, he's so good, man. The album he did with Rashid and Purpose, those were 2 one producer, one MC albums. He did a project with Edo G also. There was one that came out a couple years ago I actually never heard. But all these one producer, one MC records are phenomenal. Confidence is a great producer, man. And I've mentioned this before about Beneficence. He seems to always have an abundance of features, which is not really my favorite thing in the world. I like to hear, you know, the dude's album that he's, you know, being produced for. You know, I want to hear more Beneficence. But, you know, again, like when you have special features like this, or featured guests on here like Elda Sensei, Master Ace, Phantasm, Craig G, Lord Tariq, Ali Vegas, Keith Murray, Ross Koss, AG from DITC, Chub Rock, and the last track, which is kind of a I guess kind of a posse cut. It's got Wordsworth, Shabam Shadiq, Queen Heroine from the Juggernauts, and Truth and All. Man. But it's just solid from top to bottom, man. All the guest appearances on here are really solid. I've mentioned this before, My Way, Master Ace and Phantasm. The song is amazing, but yeah, there's dope cuts on here like there is on all the Beneficent records. But the production from Confidence is just super slick, man. It just works so well. But that feature lineup, like, are you kidding me? You got fucking Chub Rock on there? It's amazing. It's so amazing, dude. Oh, just another stellar album. Pun intended. Pun intended. Yeah, I gotta get the vinyl list, man. But another dope release from Ill Adrenaline Records. Support, man. It's really, really good. All right, so that was number 6, and at number 5 is, again, these cats are always putting out the dope shit, man. And that's A1 and Phonics with Nothing Less. They are the co-owners of Don't Sleep Records. I believe there actually is there's a documentary on Netflix. I'm not even 100% sure it's on the Canadian Netflix though. I think I did look for it and I couldn't find it, but I gotta look again. Maybe it's on there or whatever. But they did a documentary about the record company, which is really cool, man. So, but again, man, if you're familiar with A1 or Phonics is he's another like kind of 90s boom bap jazzy producer and stuff, and A1's just a soulful lyricist, man. Comes together perfectly. I can see why these guys own a company together. This is their 4th album together. They also have a remix record and stuff, but everything that's been put out on Don't Sleep Records is really good. Really, really good. So if you're into jazzy hip-hop, jazzy boom bap hip-hop, then you're probably going to be digging this a lot. There is a track on here with Mass Dates, which is fucking awesome, man. There's another track on here with Deflo, which he actually did an EP with Deflo a couple years back, I think. Ill Conscious is on here. Dope features, great record. It's just that soulful jazzy hip hop, man. That boom bap shit. All right, so that was number 5. Or that was number 5. Into number 4 is, man, dude. I mentioned this again, and it's still cracking me up, man. That top 100 list, and this album right here was featured in the honorable mentions, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, whatever. I respect their list. It's not my list, man. It is what it is. But I'm a huge Emski fan. I love Emski. I've loved Emski since the 90s. I wish he had a drop stuff. He just had all these songs running around the places. And then he came back out in the 2000. Now I think Emski is just killing it right now. And that's The Good People with their new album, The Greater Good. All produced by Saint. Again, it is just more Good People goodness. The beats are awesome. I mean, like Sound the Horns. I mean, the song is just named for what it is. It's literally a clinic in putting horns into music, man. And then there's a song called Good Lord, which is featuring Lords of the Underground. That's amazing. That's like fucking amazing. There's Mikey D's on here with Tone Spliff. We got Craig G on here also. Shabam Shadiq's also on here. DJ Eclipse, Rashid Chappelle. Some dope features on here. It's an all-around amazing album. Every song just hits. It's just, man. And actually, speaking of Emski dropped an album this year with Milk Crate, and it's a full-length album. Actually, I think he dropped an EP and a full-length album with Milk Crate. And it's kind of like, Milk Crate's very similar to Saint. It's very boom-bappy and stuff like that. And that's a fantastic album, which didn't have a physical release. I really wish it did, because it probably would have been featured on this list, because that was a fantastic album, man. I loved it. Again, I love Emski's flow. I love his voice. I love his cadence on the mic. He's just awesome. But yeah, The Good People. If you've never heard of The Good People, check him out. I couldn't recommend him enough. It's just solid hip-hop. So, yeah. But yeah, Sound the Horns. Ooh-wee. Hear those horns and you're just like, shit. All right, so coming in number 3. And, man, I struggled, man. Like, this whole top, 5, I was really struggling with, man. I went back and forth so many times with the A1 and Phonics record, The Good People. I was putting shit in... this whole top 10, actually, I struggled with quite brutally, actually. This is why I settled on. It could change. It doesn't really matter. It's just my personal favorite list. Who cares? It is what it is. Number 3 is the Jazz Spastics with Camera Sound. Yes, the production team from Scotland. It's a great record, man. Jazz Spastics they're just a jazzy, boom bappy, oh man, just soulful production crew from Scotland. This is kind of a half and half record. There's a bunch of instrumental tracks on here, and then of course I got features. I'll go through the features again. We got C-Ray Walls on here. We Be Foolish is on here. Insane. Artifacts on here again, man. Elda Sensei and Tamo, they seem to be showing up everywhere, man. The percussions are on here. Filmo's Chill, so sick, dude. Count Bass D with DJ Pocket. I love Count Bass D, by the way. Actually, that album, that Insight actually produced for Count Bass D, which I think I mentioned it. Maybe I didn't, but that's a dope record too, man. I love that album. Soundsci. We've got a song in here with Cool Keith. And, of course, Craig G, man. It's like all the usual suspects everywhere, man. These guys just killing it with the features. But there's another album I do have on vinyl also because I love this record. Not like the craziest artwork on it. I mean, honestly, if you saw this, I would think it was a straight instrumental record, maybe like a electronic album or something. It just doesn't look like a hip-hop record. It really doesn't. But it is. I assure you it is. I'm not sure if these things are limited or whatnot. Like the CDs or I have no idea. Like I never really checked into it. But yeah, here's the vinyl too. which, yeah, I do have others in here I didn't show. The Aesop Rock, but it doesn't matter. All right, so coming to number 2, and this is where I was having, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I was just didn't know what to do here. I listened to these albums so much throughout the year, and that's a lot of times on how I decide where goes where and stuff. It's based on how I listen. Even though I listened to all these records quite a bit this year, like quite a bit. I listened to a lot of the albums that didn't make this list quite a bit too. I thought 2021 was a solid year, but I had to go with this one, the second of 2 albums from Pseudo Intellectuals, and then this one is called Pizza Money. Now, when Only Built for Food and Drinks came out, I was like just floored by the record. I was like, that's such a cool album. It's got such a cool vibe. And then Chopped Here and announced this one. And the write-up on it even said one of the dopest records that Bob had ever released on the label. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck? It's like a modern record, crazy. And he's like, without a doubt, one of the best. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, it gets better than Only Built for Food and Drinks? Well, it does. Pizza Money is better. And not to take anything away from Only Built for Food and Drinks, man, because they are both solid. I really, that album, that even though it was at number 8, could have been higher. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. But Pizza Money, again, it's like the same shit, man. It's just very satirical. It's metaphorical. The arrangement, the beats, the scratching, the rhymes, the delivery, the whole overall feel of this album. It's just amazing. Like, when you're listening to what they're saying, again, Pseudo Intellectuals might be one of the best names ever for a group that just suits what they're doing. It's so cool. It's so cool because they know exactly what they're doing. And it's not comedic. I don't want to put like satirical in there as an adjective to describe like a comedic group, but because they're not, they're doing it very, very smart, right? Which is ironic, but yeah. So Pizza Money, it's fantastic. It's such a good album. You got to check it out. Another one I do have on vinyl, and these are from Chopped Hearing Records. So, and these things sell out, so you might want to get up on these. They're always limited and shit like that. So yeah, but cool. All right, so my favorite album of the year, my number 1 favorite album of the year, and that's something I always like to stress. These are my favorites. I by no means are saying these are the best albums of the year, even though some of them probably could be considered. I don't care about best. I really do this for the like of it and what I like, and that's how I do things. So, because everyone has different tastes, and I would really hope that everyone did have different lists, to a point, because everyone likes different things. Number 1, Evidence, Unlearning Volume 1. This album, I absolutely love. Like, I found myself listening to this so much. I just couldn't get over the production lineup on the record and how cohesive it sounded. Like, when you got like, the Alchemist, and it makes sense with the Alchemist and Evidence. They're like best friends, stuff like that. But then you got C Bash on here, Animos is on here. Who else produces? Mr. Green's on here, Derringer, and like that's like the Derringer beats, man, and the Crisis beats on here. Oh, it's crazy. Eardrum. I got Knots on here. Evidence produces a couple tracks on here. V-Dawn. But a bunch of different producers. It wasn't just Evidence and Alchemist doing this shit. And I was just taken back by like Derringer's beat on here was just so crazy to me, man. And Crisis, like, the lyrics on this record though, man. Evidence, this might even be the deepest he's ever been. I think that he murders what he's trying to accomplish here, man. I can't wait for Volume 2 to come out. I haven't really heard much about it, to be honest. But Sharks Smell Blood, man. Right to like Tailor-Made Suit. Like, some of these tracks, I think the consensus on the street when this first came out, people were kind of disappointed by it. They're like, it seems like a less album because it wasn't as flashy. It wasn't as loud, it was a little bit more tame. But I think once you got the vibe down of the record and then you got to enjoy what Evidence was saying within the beats, I think it's just one of those records where it like literally gives you goosebumps when you listen to it. Evidence is he's been so good for so long, but he just keeps getting better, which is scary. Man, and Conway's verse on this record, man, moving on up is so dope. I did like this, so man, not a lot of features. It feels like an Evidence solo record. It's awesome. Pardon me, fuck man. I could just go on and on. This album is incredible. It's so dope. Also have to have the I don't know. I got the vinyl somewhere around here, which I don't actually. I didn't. I thought I had in my other room out there, but yeah, gotta have the record. Gotta have the record. Oh, like every song is so dope. But yeah, so that's my top 21 of 2021. Actually, I got this Y Society album right here, the Insight Damu record. I was actually listening to this the other day. It was oddly enough, it was sitting over here. But yeah, speaking of Insight, this is so good. As for honorable mentions, yes, you probably noticed I did not show the MF Doom Czarface record because I remembered this one wasn't 30 minutes. Even though I really like this, I listened to this album a lot. It's an easy listen because it runs like 25, 26 minutes. It's very short. And we do know this was all recorded months and months before MF Doom passed away. So this is the way they intended it to be, which is kind of interesting. Unless they were recording and Doom got sidetracked. Like we always hear these stories about Doom and stuff, but I don't know. It's solid though. I really enjoy this album. I also do have it on vinyl too. Because it's a Doom record and I gotta have everything on vinyl from Doom, but yeah, it's good shit, man. It is good. It was just too short. It just didn't fit the criteria. Even though I fucked up with the Edo G record, but I don't feel bad about it at all. I really don't. There's another record that I really liked, man, was the Ill Conscious album with Loopholes. That was really dope, man. I did dig the Atmosphere record this year. I thought it was one of the better ones they put out. Vinny dropped 2 albums, the New Jedi Mind Tricks album, and his solo record too, which I thought were both solid. Definitely not the greatest of Jedi Mind Tricks or Vinny Paz solo stuff, but they were solid. And yeah, a couple honorable mentions. I actually did have what was the one I was trying to think of? I can't remember now. Digital only record. I did mention the M-Ski Milk Crate album, which I really felt like that needs a physical release. The Bronze Nazareth Rock Marciano album I think might have a release now. I know the Tough Kong they release a lot of modern stuff, which I don't like to go over there to buy a lot of modern stuff because it's really expensive, but as for albums that are going to be eligible for me next year, because you're probably wondering where Magic is, it'll probably get its physical release this year. Nas's Magic album, which I thought was fantastic, man. It was really good. That's the best stuff he's done with Hit Boy so far, hands down. I like the Ill Treats and Charade album, Opening Theory. That does have a physical copy. I just never got it. What was the other one? The Develop Loop and Rather Smith, Eternal Dreams. That one does have a vinyl release also that I never picked up this year. I really wish the UG Nick Wiz Metabolic got a physical release. That was really dope. But the other ones I did mention, like Time and Spacebar from Droog, those are going to be out here shortly. Time is out. I'm waiting for my copy, but those will be eligible for me this year, even though I know most people think they're 2021 even because they're digital. But I'm going to keep going along with the physical because it just makes it a lot easier to make these lists. So but yeah, that's pretty much it for my video. And with that said, actually, I will be getting to the shelves. I wanted to get this done before I do the shelf. And I'm also going to be starting a new series. I'm not going to continue to do like big ass CD and vinyl updates because I always let shit build up too much and then I don't feel like doing them because they're going to take like 2 fucking hours to do the whole damn video. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start a new series called What's in the System, and it's going to be a combination of like older records that are in my collection and newer stuff that or maybe newer stuff to the collection that I've been just listening to that's literally been in the system, right? So like this could be something like I just picked up a copy of Paperboy. Does anybody remember Paperboy? The 9 Yards. Like, here's a blast from 1993 that no one's ever heard of before. Yeah, this guy is kind of like, if I had to compare him to someone, he's like a clean, he's kind of like Skilo, actually. He's from the West Coast, but he's super clean. Like, in a sense, he's kind of like Skilo a little bit, just talking about just not gangster shit. But anyways, this is kind of about what the video would be. Just shit that I have in the system that's either new to the collection or shit that I've just been listening to. Like I was listening to the Boogie Monsters album the other day. I think it actually is. I don't even know if it's right here or not. Like, there is some random shit in this pile, man. Like, I was listening to the Kamikaze Project Pat's group album from 1998. This is like really dope. I posted a picture on my Instagram. Yeah, dude, the song Like to Get Away. Oh man, it's got that Tales from the Crypt sample. But I've been listening to like the most random shit lately. It's just been ridiculous. But that's kind of what the series will be. Anyways, so I am gonna get to those, and they're gonna be quick. You know, I'll just briefly talk about the records, and then just to get out some videos and stuff like that. But that'll be a way of showcasing some new things and some other, you know, older records and stuff like that. So, but anyways, that is gonna conclude Top 21 of 21, and I'll be back sooner than later with some more videos for show. So I'll talk to you guys then, and as usual, deuces.